Generally, life coaching is just the kind of the pursuit of success. It's kind of looking at how you approach success and how you're set up mentally for success. And people take different approaches. So again, Tony Robbins is kind of is kind of like having a lot of energy and letting your energy create a successful environment. And I guess in a way we're not that different. The life coaching organization I come from is called 3 Principles. 3 Principles Life Coach. And we're not that different in words, but it's kind of a different feel. With us, we're taking the approach that basically every experience you have, your whole life, is thought created. More or less, it's basically all in your mind. And if you can see that you're creating every experience, good and bad, it's not just the bad stuff, good and bad, then you can have a certain, I don't want to say detachment, because in a way you care a lot more quality comes into your life, but you are not a victim of your life anymore. Because you realize that you're creating your whole life from the inside out and your perception of it. The thing is, if I say to you, it's all in your head, man. You come to me with a problem, or you come to me with a goal, or you come to me with whatever. You say, you tell me about some experience you're having. And I say, it's all in your head. Right? People say that all the time. Right? And you'll be like, yep. You get it, right? You get it. But then you think, it's all in my head. So what a lot of people think is, so how do I change my thoughts then?
All right.
So if I'm thinking this all, how do I change my thoughts? Now, a child realizes that they don't know. I actually coach a 12-year-old. Really, really cool. I love working with the younger folk because they get this stuff actually a lot better than the adults. But you know intuitively on some level that you actually don't need to change your thoughts. But we're so ingrained, especially in our culture and Western culture, in being the active creator in our life, that we think we have to go in and make better thoughts. So then you get into positive thinking and affirmations and so on and so forth. For a lot of people that doesn't work, that breaks down. And the reason is because when you're doing that, all you're doing is you're adding more thought. So it's not so much that you're chasing good thoughts or you're chasing bad thoughts, or good thinking or bad thinking, or good emotions or bad emotions, because emotions and thoughts are kind of the same thing. It's not so much that you're trying to push away the bad and bring in the good. It's more that you realize that the less thinking, the less emotion that's in a way, the more your true self comes into things. And the more creativity and love and passion and joy comes into things, because that's your natural state of being. And again, you look at a kid and you can see that. To make it a little less airy-fairy, I could point to fighters even. Since we've been speaking about fighting today, I could point to anything, but I can talk about fighters. When you see, like, the reason why Conor, for example, is such a pioneer. We don't really, he's confident, he has a big mouth, he's very flashy, he's an amazing fighter. There's lots of different reasons, but for me, the main reason is he really gets this stuff. You hear the SBG guys saying there is no opponent. Now, they can all explain that in different ways, but what they're really saying, I think, if they really get it, is it's all in your mind.
Right.
You're fighting yourself in there.
Right.
Because you're creating the entire world. That might not make sense to you right now on some level, but it probably does make sense at another level. So if you listen with your head, you'll say, no, there's another guy in there. I'm fighting another guy. But for some reason, fighters who fought a lot, somehow they get the response you're getting right now, where they say, yeah, you're right, I am fighting myself.
Right.
And the more clearly you can see that, the more greatness comes into whatever it is you're doing in this case.
Well, one of the things, so last night, in preparation for this conversation, I asked, who, if there was a head or a main guy who would I look up? He said Michael Neal. So I looked up maybe 2 or 3 little clips of his, some speeches. And one of the points that he made, which I thought was a very good point, is, and I'm probably going to butcher it, it's not going to be verbatim, but just because you think a thing doesn't mean it's actually what it is, or that you have to accept it. Like, you can just acknowledge that that was a thought that I had, and there it is, that was a thought, and leave it at that. And that's something, if you ever listen to like any Alan Watts or any like Buddhist or Zen philosophy, they always talk about the observer. So there's you, the thinker, who's thinking the thoughts, but then there's also you, who is the person who is seeing and observing the thoughts that are being thought, right? And being able to kind of acknowledge that your thoughts aren't necessarily who you are. They are in the fact that they kind of frame how you see things, but they are not innately you. You can kind of disassociate yourself, if you will, for maybe lack of a better term, from your thoughts. And that simply thinking a thing doesn't mean you have to actually do it or take it on, right? And to your analogy with fighting, or really, as you said, with anything else, I think it becomes more so the way that they say, like, it's you're fighting yourself, is ultimately your performance and how you deal with that other person boils down to how you manage yourself and how well you can do without getting in your own way. Essentially stopping yourself from stopping yourself, if you will. Would you say that's kind of along the right lines?
It's definitely along the right lines. I think you get it. But this is what I would say is,